CBS News is next on WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, a service of Port St. Lucie Broadcasters.
A very pleasant good evening and welcome to a brand new show here on WPSL Worldwide, WPSLTV.com from Indian River State College. It's called Startup Talk with Mr. Tom Kindred.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And yes, welcome everyone to our first segment and installment of Startup Talk. The show is designed to assist and help Treasure and Research Coast residents who want to start, grow, or accelerate their business. And what a great place it is to own and operate a business along the beautiful Research and Treasure Coast. We're also going to spend some time during our hour to highlight and create some awareness regarding the powerful and robust business and assistance programs and support programs which exist right here along our communities at our very own Indian River State College. I am Tom Kindred, and I am the entrepreneur in residence at Indian River State College. Our show tonight is powered by the Coleman Foundation, a private independent foundation that focuses on entrepreneurial endeavors. So, good evening, Greg, and how are you this evening?
Doing well, doing very well. And you know what's very interesting about Indian River State is that there seems to be so many resources there that the general community really doesn't know much about. And I know when I was over at one of your events, the recent Shark Tank-like event, and saw all those resources in that building of yours, I just couldn't believe it. Blew my mind.
Yeah, it really is incredible, and that's really the purpose of this show is to again highlight and bring some awareness about all these very incredible assets, resources, and assistance that exist at Indian River State College to help folks who want to start a business, who want to grow their business, or who want to accelerate their business. So it is good stuff, Greg, and we appreciate the opportunity and the partnership here with WPSL with all those programs. So with that, I guess, are you ready to talk a little business and entrepreneurship, Greg?
Sounds good to me.
I figured you might prefer to discuss some overnight sports stats, or maybe the inflation rate of footballs, not maybe the inflation rate and how it affects business.
You know, I thought about that.
Yes.
Now, keep in mind, what's going on this week in the NFL? Nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. But where are they? They're on the front page of every newspaper. They're in the first segment of every newscast. And in a nothing week, they have managed to put themselves out there.
That's called marketing.
Yeah, it is called marketing. Yep.
Well, Greg, as you know, I, for many years, had the privilege and the honor and the pleasure, and sometimes not so pleasurable, but I had the honor and the privilege of owning and operating a few business enterprises along the Research Coast. And any time I'm offered the opportunity to speak about my business or business in general, I always try to make one point. And that point simply is, if I had taken the time to become engaged in and participate in the business assistance programs offered at Indian River State College, I am confident I could have really been a better manager, owner, and operator. And that's really what I want to talk about today on our first show. I want to introduce what is referred to as the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurial Development Institute at Indian River State College. The college, Dr. Massey and the Board of Trustees have really done an incredible job of building this very powerful one-stop shop for business assistance and support through the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurial Development Institute. And I believe we have with us also today. We've got, which is an honor and a pleasure to have her with us. We've got Rebecca Corbin, who is the president and CEO of NACCE, an organization we're going to talk a little bit about today. NACCE is the National Association of Community College Entrepreneurship. Are you there, Becky?
I'm here. Thank you for welcoming me.
Yes, absolutely. Well, listen, indeed an honor to have you with us on the show tonight. And I can't say enough about NACY's support. Saw everyone at NACY in the most recent conference out in Arizona. What a great conference. What a great time. Very inspirational to be around folks who understand the impact of entrepreneurship. So we certainly appreciate you with us today, Becky.
Great. It's great to be here, and it's always great to talk about NACY and entrepreneurship in community colleges.
Well, great.
Exciting topic.
Yep, it is. Let's. What I want to do real quick, I want to start. I've got a couple people in the studio with us here too tonight. I've got the EDI, the Entrepreneurial Development Institute, is really this umbrella operation at Indian River State College. Very unique in the way that it's set up and structured, but it is. It actually houses multiple entities under that EDI umbrella, and we've got the Small Business Development Center. We have an incubator program, and we have what's called the CCTI, or the Corporate and Community Training Institute. And here with us tonight are Jack Hopkins, who is the coordinator of the SBDC, and Bob O'Brien, the coordinator with CCTI. So let's start real quick. Jack, let's start with you. Explain to us a little bit about what the Small Business Development Center is.
Well, the Small Business Development Center is a nationwide organization. We're funded in part by the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and the bulk of our funding comes from them, and the rest comes from our host institutions. Of course, ours is Indian River State College. We're one of over 40 centers throughout the state of Florida. We have a state network, the FSBDC, that we're a part of, and we're an 8-man center at Indian River State College with well-experienced, seasoned professionals.
I've gotten to know a lot of them. They are great people. Now, a lot of times, Jack, when people talk about entrepreneurship, they think of entrepreneurship as really all startups. But really, the SBDC is really kind of a complete organization that really is engaged at all stages of entrepreneurship and enterprise. Talk to us just real quickly about, it's not just about folks that are starting a business. You can work with all different levels and stages of business.
Well, that's correct, Tom. We at SBDC, we like to look at our client base in 4 different ways. Certainly there's the pre-venture side. And those are people with ideas who haven't really generated any revenue, but they have a reasonable idea, and they come to us, and we try to shake that out and see if it will be feasible. Our next stage is the startup. And for startups, we identify a startup as a person who is in business. They actually are generating revenues, but they've been in business for under 3 years. And then that constitutes our start sector of our client base. And then the other side of that is the grow sector. And the grow sector is micro businesses. They've been in business for over 3 years, but they have under 5 employees. And we see a lot of these in the Research Coast. And they could be mom and pops. They could be lifestyle type of businesses. And then finally, the ultimate sector for us is small to medium enterprises, and that stays on the definition of a small business under 500 employees, but these are businesses over 3 years with more than 5 employees.
Right. So again, really incredible program. It's not just about startups. It's about helping any level of business, any stage of business, and I've had the opportunity to get with you and meet with you in partnership with some of these clients, and these are second and third generation businesses. You're helping folks create valuations for their business. They're looking at potentially selling their business. So you're helping in all kinds of ways, even at that upper stage level business.
Well, that's correct. Many people, when they come to us, many clients, they really can't identify the problem. So it's really, for us to go in and see what's causing the issue. And many of them will come and say, well, my sales are just, of course,
right.
But when we dig a little...
Everybody's sales.
That's right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. We can identify with that, yes.
Right.
But when you dig a little deeper, you find the reasons why maybe the sales are not optimum or they're not, operating as efficiently as they can.
Let's real quickly, Jack. I know you guys also offer some specialties, which are very impressive. I mean, talk to me a little bit about some of your team members and some of those specialties that they work with.
Yes. Well, we have an 8-person team. Right now we have a very, very good team. We've expanded over the last couple of years. We're up to 8, as I said, 8 certified business consultants, most of whom have master's degrees in business, all of whom have a business degree, and all of whom have either run or owned businesses in their own right. Our specialties, we have really good programs right now. We have Emily McHugh, who runs our international business. Emily has owned an international business. She has vast experience in that sector. Scotty Wilson up in Vero is our government procurement specialist for doing business with the government and selling to the government. That's a real specialty in itself, and Scotty can help you navigate all the various hoops that you must jump through to do that. We also have a disaster preparedness situation. This is a disaster recovery, not just for hurricanes. Getting back into business after a storm is certainly a big topic for us here, yes. But also a death in the family or a partner that leaves the business quickly, and that would be
so you're able to help these folks put together a plan to get their business back up and running after some sort of disaster.
That's correct. Okay. That's correct. And that's something that just about every business, unfortunately, has to go through. And then finally, we have our growth acceleration program. We have 2 individuals, Spike Schulteis and Gay Barnes, both specialists in taking mature businesses who want to expand and grow.
Wow.
Oh, I like it. Mature businesses.
Yeah. Is that what you are, Greg? You're a mature business?
No, I'm very immature.
Right. Well, Jack, again, SBDC, I tell folks, again, every time I'm out and about and I'm talking about business, I tell folks, in fact, I've asked Jack many times, where were you 20 years ago when I was in business? Jack is an incredible resource, very wise and an experienced business person, and Jack's taught me an awful lot. It's been an honor and a pleasure sitting next to you in our offices and learning from you. So, again, incredible resources. Talk to me real quick, Jack. Everybody wants to know. So with all this powerful assistance, there must be some huge cost associated with this.
Well, there is, but fortunately, that's paid for us. So we are able to offer our services at no cost to our clients. Absolutely no cost to our clients.
And if someone is thinking about starting a business, has questions about their existing business, wants you to review their finances, wants to talk about sales, wants to talk about let's see how I can improve my margins. They basically, how do they get in touch with you, Jack? How do they start this process? Very quickly.
Well, visit the Dan K. Richardson EDI website at IRSCBiz. That's B-I-Z, IRSCBIZ.com, and you'll see our 3 logos. You'll see the SBDC logo. Simply click on the logo. That'll take you to the SBDC portal, and then you'll see Request for Counseling. Click on the Request for Counseling. It's a very short form and only take a couple of minutes. Keep in mind that everything we discuss and every information that you provide with us remains confidential. We don't share that information with anybody. And once again, there is no cost for this.
Incredible program, SBDC. Again, just one part of this EDI, and the other part is Mr. Bob O'Brien, who coordinates and manages what's called the CCTI, the Corporate and Community Training Institute. Again, another incredible resource we have along the Research Coast. Bob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tom.
Talk to me a little bit about CCTI. What is it? What's the purpose? What's your mission?
Okay, the Corporate and Community Training Institute, and from here on out, we'll just call it CCTI.
Yeah,
it's a mouthful.
Much easier, yes.
We provide high-quality professional and career training for businesses and organizations throughout the Treasure Coast area. We offer customized programs. We offer continuing education for licensure and certification. This training can be done at your business or at one of our 4 campuses.
Wow.
So the customized classes, you pick the date, the time, and the place. We come to you, and we're able to provide that training at your leisure. We have 3 business solutions consultants, and you give us a call, and we'll set up a meeting, come out, and we'll just talk about any of the problems that you might be having and come up with a game plan on how we need to proceed.
I had some experience a number of years ago. We came when I was in business to the CCTI. We did a 2-day training. We did a Friday night, was basically general business training for all of our employees. And then Saturday, we kind of focused in on sales training for our sales department. It was impressive training. You hired the trainer, the instructor. You facilitated the course. We did it on the campus at IRSC in some impressive facilities. So CCTI, again, what a resource for local businesses. Again, now you basically provide these services all throughout the Research Coast, not just in St. Lucie County.
Right. We have campus in Stewart. We have a campus in Okeechobee, and of course we have the campus in Vero Beach, as well as our campus at St. Lucie West.
And that's the same with the SBDC. You basically have reps in all campuses, right, Jack? You service all 4 campuses,
That's
all
correct.
4 counties, right?
That's correct. Yes, we cover all the campuses, including Okeechobee. Yes.
And Bob, again, talk to me a little bit too, again, about that existing that are established business. Again, so many folks think of entrepreneurship as startups, but talk to me about that existing business that's out there that's been around for 20 years. I mean, what do you bring to the table for them?
Well, we help them keep their employees and actually help them make their employees even more valuable. This day and age, the cost of replacing an employee, especially an administrator, is very expensive. So we like to help keep what you have, and a lot of times we'll talk about. We like to provide the training before you need the training.
That's right.
Because sometimes there's topics out there that you just you want to avoid before they come up. So. We're able to do that for them.
There were numbers that were thrown around decades ago on the cost of training someone. What are the current numbers now? It's got to be staggering.
I can't tell you right off the bat, but it's like 25% of their salary is what it will cost you to replace just your average employee, your minimum wage employee, and to replace an administrator, it's almost like 110% of their salary, time lost and business loss while you're in the transition.
Sure.
Some crazy numbers.
And think of the loss of experience too when you lose that employee. I mean, that's really what hurts is when you turn and try to get those answers and try to get some historical perspective on what you were doing in the business. It hurts when you lose that employee.
Some of the topics that we do cover, Tom, for customized classes for the bigger companies, customer service. Of course, that's always a hot topic, and you definitely want to be providing customer service. We do management, supervision, and leadership training. We do human resources training. We do communication skills, computer skills. Everybody knows a little bit about Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, but we don't know what we don't know in those programs. So, Microsoft Excel is a great software and is utilized. Everything I do throughout the day, I use Excel and Word on a regular basis, and there's tips and tricks that'll help you utilize those programs better. We also do sales training, safety training from OSHA 30-hour and OSHA 10-hour classes, and then a lot of personal development and professional development classes as well.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back to discuss a little further the Entrepreneurial Development Institute at Indian River State College.
Looking to start or enhance your career within the medical field? The Corporate and Community Training Institute at Indian River State College is now offering classes in medical coding and documentation. This class will introduce you to the most up-to-date medical coding systems used by healthcare entities. Classes will be held on Saturdays at the main campus in Fort Pierce, beginning February 21st. For registration and information, visit online, irscbiz.com, or call 475-2201, extension 620. Brush up on your home improvement and DIY skills. The Corporate and Community Training Institute at Indian River State College is offering a series of courses designed to introduce participants to various do-it-yourself topics, including how to grow your own food, beginning January 31st, how to do basic home repairs starting February 7th, how to remodel your kitchen and bath beginning February 14th, and how to hardscape starting February 21st. To register for classes with the CCTI at IRSC, visit irscbiz.com.
All right, welcome back. We're going to continue our discussion here from the studio about the Indian River State College Entrepreneurial Development Institute, what I like to refer to as a very powerful and robust one-stop shop for business assistance and support. And we introduced her a little earlier, very impressive individual who is the president and CEO of NACE, the National Association of Community College Entrepreneurs. And Becky, are you with us?
I'm here. Thank you.
Listen, I guess at this point, tell me just a little bit of a background about NACE, I guess. Let's start there.
Sure. NACE stands for the National Association of Community Colleges and Entrepreneurship. So any of the listeners that want to check it out further can certainly visit our website at nacce.com. Essentially, the vision of NACE is a very exciting one. It relates to a lot of what was discussed so far, really is creating economic vitality through entrepreneurship. So to kind of give you a scope of the size, at this juncture in time, over 300 community colleges are members of NACE, and over 2,000 administrators, faculty, and staff at these colleges are involved, many of whom you've met at the conference, which was amazing. So really the pool of folks is, your own Dr. Massey, who's the chairman of the board of NACE, other community college presidents, educators, administrators, and essentially NACE has two goals. It's simple and powerful. One is to empower the college to approach the business of leading a community college with an entrepreneurial mindset, which we're excited to talk about. And the other is really to grow the community college's role in supporting job creation and entrepreneurs in local ecosystems.
Beautiful. Very, very simple, straightforward. And I guess the question that I always have wanted to ask, so now I get my chance to ask you. Why community and state colleges? Why should a community and state college be involved in this entrepreneurial space? Shouldn't we simply be focused on reading, writing, arithmetic kind of thing? Or so what's the purpose? Why the drive and the engagement in entrepreneurship at our community college level?
Right, and that's something a lot of people wonder, and I think when you really go deeply into the community college system and some of the things that you've discussed already, community colleges are really perfectly poised, I think, to focus on jobs, a robust economy, and really the intersection of the partnerships between business, government, as we've heard from your other guests in terms of leveraging and accessing funding, and certainly students and faculty. So it's a good place to do that. And one of the tools that is very helpful through the NACE program and is helpful to people that really want to practice it in communities is what we call the Quick Start Guide. So one of the things that I found to be very interesting that goes directly to your question is in July 2010, the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation really presented a compelling case, which I think succinctly states the answer. And this was based on research that Tim Kaine, the author of the study, did, looking at census data from 1977 to 2005. And what he found is for all of, except for 7 years, existing firms shed about 1 million jobs annually, but new firms add an average of 3 million jobs annually. So you can see, the impact and sort of the environment in community colleges, all of the things that you discussed with the SBDC, what EDI does perfectly support sort of that job, not only creation, but when you talked about training, helping these new businesses to grow and to prosper.
Right, job retention. And again, it's not so often. Again, entrepreneurship is really tied to that startup, community. But really, our program, what we've been able to build here through the EDI, is really also about helping business expand, which is job creation. So we help those local businesses expand. We take those concepts that we learn through organizations like NACE, and we implement those concepts. And I think you're so right. The community colleges really are in a perfect position in relationship to the community. We're essentially boots on the ground here to talk about that job creation. That's really how you see it?
It is. And, one of the things that NACCE does very well is that we support the work of all of sort of the boots on the ground in the local level of providing people with a lot of the tools, whether they be businesses or community college presidents or, faculty, students even. And really the key part is focusing on what you talked about earlier is sort of this entrepreneurial mindset. So it's not just limited to startups. It's really how you think about opportunity, how you leverage things. And one thing NACCE has done, I believe, so well is really partnering. Some of this is the excellent work that Heather Van Sickle initiated with Dr. Sarah Vossi, and it's really what's known as the entrepreneurial method. So if you wanted me to describe it, it's the work of a lot of individuals that I think helps people sort of step in to that mindset of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it really is. You through that work, you really have helped us create what we refer to kind of as a step-by-step, common sense approach to starting a business and to growing the business. And I think
that's true. And to think about it, I know for me, when I learned about it and really deeply sort of examined some of the opportunities too, I think in community colleges is, community colleges as sort of a sector are facing some challenges with enrollments and, traditional funding sources. So whether you're a business or within the community college sector itself, you want to apply kind of different types of principles. Like one, for example, is the bird in the hand principle. And simply stated, what that means is, what assets do I have? And business people do this all the time, and we teach that in some of our entrepreneurial thinking. But, when you look around, we have a tremendous amount of assets. You have a radio station, you have all of these different things. How can you leverage that?
That's right.
And really thinking about things also in terms of, one of the second principles, which is affordable loss. What are you willing to lose, or what are you willing to not lose? Because I think you need to set out with that kind of framework in mind and think about, as you're sort of moving along, how can you create what's called this crazy quilt? So,
right.
When you're thinking about what do I have and what am I willing to risk, is what partners could I possibly join with? And I think that's at EDI and in Indian River and the SBDC and others across the country, that's what organizations like NACCE do, is they provide forums where people can get together and form networks and linkages, and sometimes the things that happen in these synergies really lead to some really powerful work, both in the business sector and in higher education as well.
I think, Jack, did you want to address kind of that step-by-step building process?
Well, I'm very interested in what you said, about it's not limited to the startup community and the whole entrepreneurial mindset. I see it all the time in working with existing businesses as well. It's a challenge for us as business advisors, consultants, and educators, I believe, to merge the traditional aspects of the discipline of best practices, in the academic method as well, with the spark of creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship is really, now we're seeing now that the younger generation is really lagging behind on starting businesses. That rate is going down. So we're not reaching them with the traditional methods. So I think the whole entrepreneur.
So are you talking millennials?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
That's empirical evidence that the
Really?
rate of starting businesses, and I believe this is conjecture, but I believe that the reason for that is fear, and there's a fear of failure. It's a much safer route.
I've got that every day I walk in here.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, entrepreneurs don't really think that way. They don't really have.
That's true.
They just
That's
leap.
very true.
They leap and they figure out how they're going to land on their 2 feet when they get down to
Exactly.
the bottom. Yeah. Or fly.
So Jack,
ideally.
again, I think what you're alluding to is that sometimes businesses get into that rut, for lack of a better word.
Absolutely.
You're not being innovative. You're not looking, again, I hate to use it, but you're not getting outside the box.
Correct.
You're not looking to expand that business. And I think that's a natural segue with Bob at the CCTI. I mean, this is what you're doing, Bob. I mean, you're bringing kind of cutting edge training into an existing business at some high level to help them become innovative and train their people up and grow and expand the existing business. I mean, that's the purpose.
Sure.
Right?
If you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to get what you always get. And, sometimes we do have to look outside the box, and we got to be creative and do things differently than you have in the past.
So we can't just, again, businesses have to understand and realize that training is ongoing, that you get busy, you may even get busy doing well, making strong profits when the economy is good, but at some point you have to dedicate some of that time to training.
And reinventing yourself.
Well, absolutely.
That's a thing that I think is pretty logical for a business.
Well, Becky mentioned the principle of affordable loss is very relevant in this conversation. Get help before that bucket is just about dry,
right.
Because you may have to try new things, and you can't be afraid of failing, to be a successful entrepreneur. The old we all know the story of Edison. How many different prototypes he went through before he came up with a bulb that actually worked. And that goes on and on.
Right. So back to you, Becky. Again, I think there's two more elements to the principles. You left us off with the crazy quilt, which, of course, is one of my favorite. Really reaching out into the community and building that network of individuals, institutions that can help you, that can improve your chances of success. And the easiest to start with to build your crazy quilt is right here in this room today. You've got the SBDC, you got the CCTI, you got an incubator program at a college. That's part of the crazy quilt, is it not, Becky?
It really is. And, I often think of it as what you can hear about as intentional serendipity, if you will. You put yourself out there, you go to a conference, you learn something new, you seek out those resources, because sometimes the people and that these are connectors, and those are the people that you have on your show today, is that they will help you figure out who do you need to connect to get what you need to make sure that you stay within the boundaries of your affordable loss and that you protect your assets. But I found it interesting, the conversation, because I think what you were speaking about a moment ago really goes to the next principle, which is the lemonade principle, which is really to leverage contingencies. And I think all of us, no matter if we're business owners or faculty or students or whatever, we have to ask ourselves, what are you afraid of, and kind of reframe that. And I think some of the discussion about sort of the mindset of a typical entrepreneur is they don't necessarily always have that fear that the traditional person would have, but there can be real benefits to asking yourself that question, because sometimes it gets you to sort of reframe opportunities, and if things don't go well, it's helping you along the way. You're learning lessons, you're getting closer to your goal. Then the final principle, which is before you go on to the final one, let's talk about that for just a minute too, because I think that's an important point. Because those of us who work in this space of entrepreneurship, we understand failure, and we see it as an opportunity. When I teach entrepreneurship at Indian River State College, a lot of times my students will ask me, they'll say, Mr. Kindred, why do we have to write a business plan? And I'll tell them, because I want you to fail. And they'll look at me and their eyes get big and they're like, this guy's the worst instructor I've ever had. He wants us to fail. and what I explain to them is I want them to fail now. One of the old sayings about incubation is incubation helps reduce the cost of failure. We want you to fail while you're writing your business plan. We want you to fail during idea conception. That's when we want you to fail, because you'll learn from that. We don't want you to fail after you've already got the doors open. Is that, Jack, is that sort of where we're at with that concept?
Absolutely. Fail cheaply.
That's right. Fail fast and fail cheaply.
That's a great line. Fail cheaply.
You're right. So the lemonade principle there in the entrepreneurial mindset is addressing that concept of failure, which is not comfortable for a lot of people because they see failure as
Negative.
They see it as the end of the road. But the whole point is that in entrepreneurship, and we want you to experiment, we want you to try things to the point of failure, but prior to, like Jack said, prior to getting yourself too far down the road.
Absolutely, yeah. I think, and that's the whole thing. Come to us now. Come to us when you're doing good, and say, hey, how am I doing? Remember, New York City had a mayor for many years, Ed Koch. He used to walk around saying, how am I doing? Well, that's what you should be asking yourself as a business owner. How am I doing? Am I doing this correctly? Is what I'm doing sustainable?
Right. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Becky, stay with us, and we're going to come back and wrap it all up.
You are listening to Startup Talk from Indian River State College, right here on WPSL Worldwide, WPSLTV.com.
The Corporate and Community Training Institute at Indian River State College is now offering social media marketing. Courses are designed to give students a working knowledge of these valuable business tools through a hands-on learning experience. You'll learn more about internet marketing and customer engagement through social media. Mobile Marketing 101. All about Google, YouTube, Google+, and how to drive higher search rankings. For workshop dates and more information, visit online irscbiz.com. Brush up on your home improvement and DIY skills. The Corporate and Community Training Institute at Indian River State College is offering a series of courses designed to introduce participants to various do-it-yourself topics, including how to grow your own food, beginning January 31st, how to do basic home repairs starting February 7th, how to remodel your kitchen and bath beginning February 14th, and how to hardscape starting February 21st. To register for classes with the CCTI at IRSC, visit irscbiz.com.
All right, welcome back. We're going to continue our discussion here about business along the Research Coast and all the assistance and support resources that are available through the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurial Development Institute right here at your very own Indian River State College. We've got Becky Corbin on the line, who is the president and the CEO of NACCE, the National Association of Community Colleges and Entrepreneurship. Becky has been going through the 5 principles of what we call effectuation, which we refer to as the entrepreneurial method, kind of how you go out there and start that business. So, Becky, I think we're on our last principle here.
Right. So the last one, easy to remember one, but critically important, is what's known as pilot in the plane. So what we're framing out here is what you can control versus what you can predict principle. So again, along the lines of asking yourself important, thought-provoking questions, in this case, what do I have control over? How can I position myself best for success? So, you think about it in some of the conversation that we've had about businesses and in terms of how this entrepreneurial mindset can be applied to numerous situations. I think for every business person, startup person, or somebody who's just thinking about how to improve, focusing on activities within our control, expert entrepreneurs tell us, these kinds of actions result in desired outcomes. So, this sort of all goes to the excellent work of NACCE and some of the people that we've been able to collaborate with, which is an effectual worldview. Essentially, we're firmly rooted in the belief that the future is neither found nor predicted, but in fact it's made, and that's I think what all of us on the program agree and are excited about.
Yeah, I mean, there absolutely no doubt. I mean, we have to determine in business what do we have control over. You go back to some of those techniques, Jack, and you can probably talk to some of those. I mean, say the old textbook SWOT analysis. I mean, you look at something like that, and it allows you to understand what do you have control over. And
it's interesting you brought that up. I have an existing client who is a mature business. He's been in business for quite some time that I've been working with, and I recently had him do one of those. Right. And I thought that would be useful for his own
That's really
sales
looking at
reckoning.
the strengths, the weaknesses, and the opportunities and the threats of your business. And really, that's an analysis of internal and external
That's
factors
correct.
of your business.
Your strengths and weaknesses are internal to you and your business, and your opportunities and threats are what the market puts forward as well. What opportunities and what threats are coming from the marketplace. So yes, a really good exercise. It's a great exercise. I highly recommend for anybody, even in your personal life.
Right, and then and again, a little bit of a segue into Bob. I mean, how do you strengthen your strengths and reduce your weaknesses? Well, you can do it through training. I mean, that's how you do it. You analyze your business, look at those weaknesses, and maybe training could bring some positive change to that. Correct?
Definitely. We're able to get in, and that's exactly what our consultants will do. They'll sit down with you, and we'll talk about your strengths and your weaknesses, and then we'll come up with a game plan on how we can fix that. And just give us a call, and we can send somebody out. But also to work with the employees themselves. There's a lot of professions out there where they're forced to do continuing education.
Right.
The professions that encourage their people to come back and stay up to snuff on what's going on and learn some of the new procedures. And so we do continuing education classes at the college. Many of those are easy to get online, and you can get those through our website. But there's stuff like dental assisting. The dental assistants need to stay up to date on some of their the new procedures going on. Of course, the insurance world and the real estate world, there's continuing education for them, as well as.
Let's go back to a point that really is one of the major missions of NACCE, as Becky's pointed out, is that job creation. Let's assume for the moment, Bob, that there's a company that wants to relocate into the Research Coast region, but they need a specialty type of training for employees. So, because obviously workforce would be a factor for a company to move to our area. How fast can you react? Can you actually put training together for a company like that in a pretty quick order?
Sure. We're able to do, for instance, we've been able to help some companies where a policy changed and all of a sudden they needed to get 100 employees certified in order to answer certain questions over the phone.
Right.
So we were able to jump in and do a pre-licensing course. We started with 100 and trained them for a couple weeks and prepared them for an exam where they could go in and take that exam. Just recently, Governor Scott signed a bill, it's been a little while now, signed a bill that allows dental hygienists to administer local anesthesia. So we were able to get with the health science dental department at the college, utilize the great instructors that are already teaching at the college, put together a program, opened it up, used our great facilities that we do have at RRSC, and we were able to bring the local dental hygienists in and teach them how to administer local anesthesia.
Well, and I know that in talking with the folks at Torrey Pines, VGTI, you guys at Indian River State were instrumental in finding them the people that they needed to set up their research facilities here on the Treasure Coast.
That's correct. So several students work there. As
Sure.
interns, yeah.
You bet.
What, Bob? Just a couple of stats here, since Greg likes stats. They're not sports stats, but let's. How many folks do you train a year?
We train between 4,000 and 5,000 employees a year. We do over 200 training sessions a year, and we've been known to put in over 2,200 to 2,300 hours of training. And
SBDC, Jack, I mean, sort of some of your stats,
Well,
pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, we had a really fantastic 2014. It was a banner year for us. We provided over 4,000 hours of consultation to area businesses. Over 80% of those hours were to existing businesses in the Research Coast, and that's in the four-county region, including Okeechobee. Wonderful year, and we're looking forward to even greater numbers in 2015.
And Becky, I guess to kind of wrap up our conversation about NACCE, I guess you talked about memberships and administrators. Talk to me about the community, those that are on the fringes of all this. What's in it for them to get behind and support NACCE and this movement of entrepreneurship and job creation?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. NACCE, certainly, as we spoke about before, the vision and so forth is really to revive the economy. That is something that is so deeply, rooted in every community member. And as you were talking a lot about training for businesses, and I'm certain you provide some of these things. I know community colleges across the country do personal and professional development. Those kinds of courses are not only available to businesses, but people that have existing jobs, homeschooling mothers, you name it. And I think the way that NACCE really thinks about it is what we were talking about, these quick start guides, which really provide, I think, the key to success. And one of the quotes that I love the most, and I think it relates to your question, is Millicent Valek in the Entrepreneurial Community College observed, colleges must reinvent themselves in order to survive. And, she goes on to speak about how it's not only survival, but it's reinventing the future. And community members are a key part of that. A lot of that intersection and collaboration happens through non-credit and continuing ed and people that listen to your radio program. So, I guess in the NACCE world and in the community college world, we really value community connections, which really make community colleges strong. So it's a good place to be.
Yeah, and of course, there's IRSC is just second to none in what you just described, and in being a part of the community, being involved in the community, and being a true connector within the community. Absolutely second to none. And again, Becky, you've seen this thing from the high level view. Pretty unique program that's been put together here at Indian River State College, as you I think pointed out earlier. All of us being under one umbrella. Is that? Do you feel that way about our program here?
I really do. I was looking into it, and when I got to know your president, Dr. Massey, I did some research. One thing that's interesting, a little bit about my background, is I'm finishing up my doctorate in organizational leadership, and one of the things that I'm researching, more specific to New Jersey, but I'm looking at a number of different community colleges and how they're organized. And from what I can see, a lot of the ones that are the most successful, I think, do what you do very well at Indian River. They sort of come under one umbrella. There's, what we talked about, that intentional serendipity, the synergy that occurs, almost like a chemical reaction when you get like-minded. And then there's, savings, economies of scale that we see in incubators. Sometimes you have the chamber in there and other sources. Right. So that's, I think, one of the things that has impressed me the most about NACCE is it tends to highlight best practice institutions, and Indian River State College is definitely one of them. And the group that you brought together today, and those are in other states like New Jersey and Delaware and Pennsylvania and across the country. When they look at ways and things that they want to emulate for entrepreneurial success, they can pull not only the method that we spoke about, but they can also look to you as an example. And I think that's where real change occurs, is really those best practice and sharing of information. So it's really been a pleasure for me to learn about what you do. It's very impressive.
Yep. Well, we certainly appreciate it. And I guess as we sort of wrap things up, I want to go to Bob real quick, because I've told people this many times. But if you go to that www.irscbiz, that's biz.com, and if you click on that events calendar icon there, I can guarantee you will be impressed. So Bob, those are what they're going to see there is by month all the classes, courses that you're offering under your open enrollment program.
Yes, sir. We're able to do open enrollment courses are designed for maybe not the company that can send 12 to 20 people to training at once. We do topics, same great topics that we do for the big companies. We're able to do them as an open enrollment course where we pick the date, the time, and the place, and then companies can send one or two of their employees. It's everything from social media If you've got a person that's maintaining your website and it may be a job that they just took on, it wasn't in their original job descriptions, we can help train them and teach them how to utilize social media to draw people to their web pages. Of course, the computer skills, we're able to do those as open enrollment.
So, again, I just can't stress enough, I want folks to absolutely, if you operate a business, big, small, or medium size, you've got to connect with the CCTI. And Jack, kind of close us up here. A few words about the incredible resources at the Small Business Development Center.
Well, certainly, I would be remiss if not mentioning the events on our event, the event page as well, particularly with our partners, SCORE, SCORE. We partner with SCORE. They put on wonderful workshops on how to start a business and how to write an effective business plan. Those workshops are at no cost to you. So check out the events page and attend one of the...
So SCORE is still around.
SCORE is still around.
Yeah.
It's not only still around, but very, very active, very dynamic.
Wow, that's great. That's good news.
So again, certainly appreciate the time spent with all the folks out there to talk about business and talk about what we're doing along the Research Coast in the area of business. All the business assistance resource programs and resources we've discussed here tonight are all available at the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurial Development Institute. Right here at Indian River State College. Again, that website is www.irscbiz.com. I want to thank Becky. Thank you so much, Becky, for joining us tonight. It was an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show with us tonight.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And Mr. O'Brien and Mr. Hopkins, again, I appreciate your involvement and I appreciate everything you do every day for the business community.
Thank you.
I want to thank Michelle Abaldo and her staff over at the Institutional Advancement Office at Indian River State College for their support of this program. And with that, I will sign off and say look forward to talking to you again next week on Startup Talk.
Every Thursday night, 6:05, listen to Startup Talk from Indian River State College.
Fitness professionals and personal trainers are in demand, and the Corporate and Community Training Institute at Indian River State College is now offering personal trainer certification courses. This course will cover all topics necessary to provide students with the most current training, testing, and certification to practice as a professional certified fitness trainer. Classes start February 28th at IRSC's main campus in Fort Pierce. For information, visit irscbiz.com.
CBS News is next on WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, a service of Port St. Lucie Broadcasters.